How fast are you growing?
Very.
Net losses, they were in the billions of dollars.
What kind of numbers are we talking about?
We're talking about probably one of the fastest physical expansions that has been seen for the past 10 years.
WeWork has reported a first quarter net loss of $2.06 billion.
Are you actually turning a profit in the business?
We are definitely turning a profit. I'm bored of the businesses that don't turn a profit. I don't believe in them. I need a cash flow positive business.
The company was one of the hottest startups in history. Then it plunged from nearly $50 billion in value to basically worthless in just 6 weeks.
That is WeWork.
Adam Neumann is an Israeli-American businessman born in April 1979 in Be'er Sheva. By 2005, Neumann had already been running his own business. Crawlers, a children's clothing company, featured built-in knee pads for crawling babies.
I'm working in Dumbo, Brooklyn, and in the building there is an architect whose name is Miguel McKelvey.
I was attracted and interested in him because he was bringing energy to the room, and perhaps for him I could be a calming element and take in some of that energy that he had and reflect it back at him.
They stayed in touch and got the idea to start a business which would provide services and workspace for small technological companies. In 2008, Neumann met his future wife, Rebecca Paltrow. To Rebecca, it seemed that her destiny was to date Adam and guide him, as he was someone who would help save the world.
She said, find your passion. Do something that actually changes the world. Bring those two together. I promise you, you'll have the best business you ever imagined.
Neumann and McKelvey were convinced that the millennial generation needed interaction in the workplace. Yet, traditional separate offices were antisocial. Both believed there was no reason that work should not be a fun place where coworkers could socialize and interact. The first WeWork offices were a mess. The elevator was very slow and inoperable more often than not. The stairs were uneven and tech support was absent. Adam and Miguel started renovating each floor, and offices were quickly occupied. WeWork offices had aesthetic designs. Lawyers, graphic designers, and even filmmakers came. Those first members felt they were part of something new and innovative.
And it was just an amazing culture. You know, the people were great. I think they shared the same values I did, right? They basically had, it was like a work hard, play hard.
It's almost like a cult-like sensation that they created with the very early employees sort of realizing that WeWork was more than a company. It was a bit of a family. It was a community.
Tech startups usually offer employees shares that will grow in value when the company succeeds. WeWork was undoubtedly going to thrive, and all its employees were going to get rich, or so they thought.
Equity was kind of a buzzword. Adam would talk about it all the time. You all have equity in the company, which I don't think is quite true. If you have stock options, you don't actually own equity in the company. You own a security that gives you an option to buy equity in the company.
Through 2012 and 2013, the business witnessed notable growth. It opened branches in Chicago, Portland, and even London. WeWork was no longer a tiny startup. Neumann was introducing his expanding company to officials and reporters. He also searched for new investors to make WeWork a multi-billion-dollar company. As his company flourished, Neumann kept repeating the expression, "we over me," to his employees to motivate them as they worked tirelessly on weekends and attended endless meetings that ran till morning. By then, his company had been worth $40 million. However, a large part of this amount went to Adam's bank account. He was spending excessively. His actions were unethical, especially for a company still in its early development phases, because all employees and investors should have grown rich together at the same time.
When your business has a mission, and that mission is world-changing, and people can buy into the mission, then they're going to come in. Then they need a culture that they're going to enjoy. To create that culture, you got to put employees first.
And I specifically remember an all-company meeting where we were kind of told that we would be quadrupling up, quintupling up, sixing up. You don't need the corner office anymore. You don't need the house on the hill anymore. And then meanwhile, you know, I slide by Adam's office and he's got a veritable palace in there.
By February 2014, WeWork had opened branches in Boston, Washington, D.C., and Seattle. The company's funds were skyrocketing. Neumann managed to garner $400 million in investment from T. Rowe Price and Fidelity. In 2015, it suddenly became the 7th most valuable startup in the United States and the most valuable startup in New York. Mark Dixon, CEO of Regus, a leading provider of office space, was puzzled by the amount of funding WeWork was receiving. It was a lot more valuable than his company, yet far smaller.
What are we missing? Is there something that we're not doing? Is there something that we're missing? Is there an ingredient that's sort of there that we are missing out on that we can add into what we're doing? But we never found it.
In 2015, Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan Chase, was head of the largest American financial institution. He was also considered one of the world's leading CEOs. In the midst of the 2007-2008 financial crisis, as banks were struggling and depending on aid from the U.S. government, Diamond was known as the most stable figure in the whole crumbling sector. Neumann, looking for additional investment, saw the perfect opportunity in JP Morgan and was well aware how it could enhance his business.
Do you feel sorry for Adam Neumann in all this?
I'm not going to go there. I don't know.
But he was advised by some, including your bank, that a higher valuation than has currently been achieved was possible. So is there some level to which he was misled by some advisors, like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs?
You don't know the private advice we gave him or the company. At the end of the day, we offered them, a bought, fully financed kind of deal that can get them to the next stage of their life. And I think they will have a future life. I think we want them to do that. We don't want to lay off 14,000 people, have bankruptcy or something like that. So a lot of lessons to be learned on the way by everybody involved. And so, and I've learned a few myself, yeah.
Neumann was obsessed with fundraising. His friends would say that he adored the rush of finding new investors and seeing his company's value and his own net worth soaring. By 2016, Masayoshi-san, the Japanese founder of Softbank, had been trying to build his company for 3 decades. He had always longed to establish the largest company worldwide. He looked for investment from Persian Gulf countries. After several investigations, Saudi Arabia granted him $45 billion.
You had a meeting with a man who was the Deputy Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, who's now the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. And as I understand the story, you went in and in 1 hour you convinced him to invest $45 billion.
No, it's not true.
Okay.
45 minutes, $45 billion.
Okay, sorry.
$1 billion per minute.
The Saudis put dumb money into Master Son's vision fund because he says, I'll get you in on the ground floor of the next generation of great tech companies that are gonna rule the world. Give me $45 billion and I'll make you $1 trillion.
In December 2016, Son was heading to Trump Tower in New York to meet Donald Trump. While in New York, Son met with Neumann and offered to invest $4 billion in WeWork.
The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Softbank, the Japanese investment firm, is considering putting $4 billion in your company. Is that accurate?
There's nothing I can say on that topic, but that sounds like a big number.
It would be nice, wouldn't it?
I don't remember the exact moment I first heard about the SoftBank investment. You would hear rumors, and to me it just seemed normal. They were raising money every year, their growth expectations were really high. I didn't think it would be as transformative as it ended up being.
Neumann had to travel to Tokyo to finalize his investment deal with the Softbank CEO. However, many of Son's employees were not happy about the deal. Their boss was supposed to invest in the world's most promising future tech giants, not an overrated real estate company. Softbank ended up investing a total of $3.1 billion in WeWork.
They aren't making any money. They're far from making money.
No one really quite understands the business model.
According to people with knowledge of the discussion, Softbank is concerned about the valuation that WeWork could get in the public market.
With the SoftBank money, WeWork is able to massively accelerate global expansion plans. SoftBank unlocks Asia in a new way. This meets Adam's big ambitions.
The growth was insane. In the 2.5 years I was at WeWork, I negotiated more deals and spoke to more lawyers than I probably will in the rest of my life.
The amount was the second largest private investment ever offered to an American startup. Adam could not wait to start spending. The deal marked the start of a new era for his company. Nonetheless, the company's spending was getting out of control as Neumann struggled to define exactly what his company did.
So I wonder, what do you consider to be your special sauce?
From the first day that we started WeWork, it was about bringing people together. As our mission, and our mission always grows, and our mission people make a life and not just a living.
And his answer was everything that we've heard in the last few years. It's that they were doing something special with the culture, that their special sauce couldn't be found in earnings or cash flow or revenue. It was a spirit of we that was the truly distinguishing part of this company.
And the one thing when people say, are you a co-working space? We're as much a co-working space as Amazon is a book-selling store. Anybody who thought that Amazon was there just to sell books just didn't understand the vision, and you just need to look now.
I wish I pressed him harder on it, but I didn't because I had no idea what the company actually was.
By early 2018, after acquiring Softbank's money, Neumann was a billionaire and had already been on the cover of Forbes. Son wanted to start spending the Softbank $100 billion vision fund, and he wanted to personally select each recipient. Sometimes, he would convince startup founders to ask for more money, with offers reaching $500 million for one company. If founders seemed hesitant, Son would threaten to give the funds to rivals. Silicon Valley investors claimed that SoftBank's actions were reckless and would end badly. Son pledged to Neumann he would gain full, unlimited access to SoftBank's funds.
He does seem to have a particular weakness for very charismatic and very flashy founders, and Adam Neumann of WeWork is a prime example.
Until 2018, Neumann had been traveling on rented planes, but he wanted to have his own private jet that satisfied his growing ambitions and immense ego. The decision to buy a private jet represented a terrible financial step and proved that the CEO was living off investors' funds. Neumann did not plan on selling stock, but he started negotiating a new funding deal with Son. Both CEOs agreed that WeWork should grow as big as possible in the least possible amount of time. They focused on revenue, not on profitability. Neumann also thought the SoftBank deal was convenient, for it gave him the ability to remain private and not go public. Nevertheless, Son later called Neumann around Christmas of 2018 and explained to him that SoftBank's stock was badly affected by the tech stock sell-off and he could no longer pay for WeWork.
Masa and Adam were working on a plan that they were calling internally Project Fortitude, and it was essentially a plan for SoftBank to spend about $20 billion and become a majority owner of WeWork. Because of SoftBank's money and a lot of what Masa pushed Adam to do, they were spending as if they were going to have this deal done and burning so much capital to keep growing. There was this future hole coming that they were going to need a lot more capital to fill it.
By the start of 2019, WeWork had been trying to increase its office space by more than 20 million square feet. By mid-2019, WeWork would have more than 500,000 members, more than the Minneapolis population. All these numbers should have brought huge savings, yet spending had exceeded $3.5 billion the previous year, while revenue only reached $1.8 billion. In fact, WeWork had lost $3,000 every minute in 2018. After the last deal with SoftBank was dropped, Neumann was looking for ways to define WeWork as more than just a company for offices. He could not accept the reality that it could no longer become the $10 trillion company he had always longed for. Instead of being humbled by the fall, his insecurities, along with his ego, intensified. Neumann prepared to make his company public. In order to do so, he had to present financial statements and a reasonable message about the way WeWork made money and the reasons why it would be successful in the future.
Regarding an IPO, it's always been an option. We are ready for an IPO.
You are ready?
WeWork is always ready for an IPO.
When a company goes public in an initial public offering, or IPO, it has to give investors in the public market a handbook detailing its goals and purposes. It also has to provide graphs and calculations that clarify its revenues and expenses and prove its positive growth. However, when it was time for WeWork to go public, the company had neither purpose nor a clear vision for its future, even though it had been operating for more than 9 years.
It felt more like a novel written by someone who was shrooming than an S1. Many of these unicorn IPOs, the CEO is mentioned anywhere between 12 and 40 times. In the case of Adam Neumann, it was 170 times. If you tell a 30-something male that he's Jesus Christ, he's inclined to believe you.
On September 12, 2019, Neumann held a meeting with bankers from Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, WeWork's communications chief, and other important figures. In the meeting, JP Morgan representatives informed Neumann that he had to make immediate changes to the governance and management of his company. Neumann had to cede control of the company, and his wife was to have no say in choosing his successor. Additionally, Neumann had to bring in an outside director. Longtime defenders and allies of Neumann were losing faith in him, and WeWork became a ridiculous joke.
There's a 2-week period you start marketing your shares officially to investors. It's called a roadshow. Kind of like a central part of the roadshow is a video that goes along with it. So they had filmed portions of it already. So theoretically, he's just going to do his part of it. They can edit it in.
Adam kept delaying and even literally would leave rooms full of people waiting, set up for him to come. They spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on shoots that Adam didn't go to.
This is who I am. This is what I do. I tackle something until it's right. I will not stop.
And then the next morning, they decide, no, it's just not going to happen. We need to call it off.
Eventually, Adam decided to step down and become non-executive chairman.
Adam Neumann is expected to step down as WeCompany's
$47 billion
CEO.
valuation to near bankruptcy in just 6 weeks.
The future of the company very uncertain at this point.
After Neumann was toppled and the IPO was canceled, WeWork leaders realized that the company was broke. It was spending cash at a shocking speed and would run out of money in less than 2 months. WeWork had to act promptly to save itself. As it had very limited options, it turned to JP Morgan to save it. Neumann's fortune was in great peril. He required a massive cash payment to seed his potent voting shares. Softbank offered him $100 million, and JP Morgan was dismissed. The company's valuation dropped drastically. Employees were furious over Neumann's payout after he had spent years promising they would become rich but fulfilled none of his promises. Meanwhile, he was leaving with his pockets full after having led the company downhill.